Heather, we are now live. How are you today?
Great, but very, very, very hot. How are you?
Yeah, hot as well.
Mm.
Well, we want to welcome everyone to the involvedinitall.com Let's Talk Show. I'm your host, Jack Hinton, here on UrbanCast today. We have Heather Daigrepont from the Louisiana Workforce Commission with us to discuss the upcoming Rapid Hire Job Fair. This event is happening on Tuesday, June 25th. We'll feature over 20 employers and more than 874 jobs. Heather, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me
Absolutely. A state civil service worker on a Sunday out of this. We
in
definitely
this
want to
weather.
say, hey, but it's a very good cause. Heather,
It is.
can you start off by giving us an overview of the Rapid Hire Job Fair, what's it about, and all that kind of good stuff?
Sure. So we at the Louisiana Workforce Commission, especially on social media, but even some of the talks that we have with maybe some clients that come in and see us that's trying to get jobs. Maybe they've been laid off. They're looking for job training. You hear a lot of the same stuff, and primarily a lot of them is to the tone of, "I have put in my resume at hundreds of places. Nobody's calling me back." And there is a such thing as those ghost jobs being on the rise. And ghost jobs, if you're not familiar with that term, it's, to sum it up, they post jobs, but they're not actually intending to fill that. They're either trying to make their company look good and successful, like they're growing, or they're just putting fillers out there to grow their candidate pool, but they don't plan on doing any hiring right now. This event is specific to employers in the area that do have those immediate job openings, and it could be multiple openings, and some of them, as you can see on that exhibitor list, do, that are of an array of industries and occupations. So the goal of this one is for somebody to show up either with resume in hand, or LWC's mobile unit that will be parked outside will help you put together your resume, so that you could go around and visit the, I believe it's 26 booths to be exact, that we have of employers and resources to see what's available for immediate hire that would increase your chances of that rapid reemployment or entering the workforce. If you need a second job, because you're underemployed, all of those options are available, as well as staffing agencies that may even have some temporary jobs. So there's going to be an array of opportunities at this specific event.
Wow, wow, wow. How did the idea for this job fair come about? What are the main, you talked about some of the goals, but what are the real main goals and hope? What do you, how will y'all measure the idea that this was a success or not?
I really do think the idea was generated from, post COVID. You had a lot of the virtual job fairs, virtual interviews. You had a lot of things that were virtual, even, meetings between, people that already had jobs. They're doing Zoom meetings and Microsoft Team meetings. And then you see that start to trickle.
Hmm.
People are going back to the office, people are wanting more in person events. And so for, a couple of years post COVID, we were putting on both virtual and in-person job fairs that were hosted by LWC, but had, various partners throughout the state, and we still weren't getting the attendance.
Hmm.
So the idea behind this one is, okay, so whatever barriers there could be, let's focus on removing those. We chose to have it at the Bolton Avenue Community Center because there's a City of Alexandria bus stop right in front. There's a
Hmm.
lot of foot traffic in the Bolton Avenue area, as well as a lot of the nonprofits there that help with the unsheltered or the homeless.
Hmm.
So it's a good location for that, as well as parking. And we are so appreciative to the City of Alexandria for donating that building to us for the calls for that day, as well as a rapid hire event that we had in March. So, again, thank you to the City of Alexandria for that. And we just wanted to remove those barriers. There's going to be LWC reps that represent disability services for the Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. We
Hmm.
have LWC staff that's there to represent veteran services. Um, Handicap accessible,
Hmm.
even the mobile unit. If you need help with your resume and you may be hearing impaired, there's laptops that can, help communicate to staff in order for them to write your resume, as well as a wheelchair lift on the back. So really what we wanted to do is pick the perfect location to have this community event that not only had the jobs, the resources, but was easily accessible and could benefit the general public.
So no excuses to not come. In other words,
No excuses, no barriers.
no
Exactly.
no
We worked
barriers.
hard to remove those.
Absolutely. Well, good for you guys. With over 25 employers participating, can you give us an idea of the range of industries and the job types that would be represented?
So I don't have the list in front of me, so help me out because you probably do. But going off memory, because I had to, I updated it about every 2 or 3 days. We ended up having to stop it because we met capacity. It got good traction, which is great. That's what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna have your typicals that you see at a lot of job fairs because they're just our area larger employers like Rory and Martin, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And another one would be Louisiana Department of Corrections and Louisiana State Civil Service have 500 job openings between them that are statewide. They're not specific to Alexandria, they're statewide.
Mm-hmm.
And so within those, you can have from anything from IT to medical, not just strictly law enforcement, where maybe you did some kind of law enforcement training or you have a degree in criminal justice. I mean, even within those, there's going to be different occupations and industries. And then, of course, you have your staffing agencies that are going to be there. And I'll use ProTemp's Staffing Solutions as an example, that, they recruit for some of these other companies. Let me see, APCO Industries, for example, they recruit through staffing agencies. And so there's a lot in this area that only go through the staffing agency. So it's great to have them in attendance so that they can represent those companies and those openings. And even those openings have, different industries within them. Anything from, working in the hotel, hospitality and tourism industry to food service, to millwrights, to construction, it's all there.
Wow. Who is this? Who is the job fair particularly aimed at? Are there specific groups of job seekers who might benefit the most?
We think that, and we try to make it accessible to everyone as well as targeting everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, who could benefit as far as maybe a situation? I mentioned earlier, underemployed. You have
Mm-hmm.
unemployed, you have underemployed. So, if you're looking for a second job or something that you want to pick up on evenings because you already have a day job or vice versa, then this event would be good for you because those options are there, as well as we have the on-site services available for people with disabilities and second chance, returning citizens and veterans. So it's not specific to them, but they're represented there, which we made sure to have that, especially for our veterans.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing is within those jobs, you'll have companies that are second chance friendly. So not only do they get to come and meet staff from Reentry Solutions that's going to talk to them about their options,
Mm-hmm.
but there's going to be employers in the room that will have some job openings as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good question, but it's really geared to everyone. With the amount of job openings that's there, we don't want people to feel like because they have a master's degree, there wouldn't be something for them there, or because they're entry level and have no experience that there's not something for them there, being the amount of jobs that there are. So we invite everybody to come out.
You did mention Reentry Solution, and you and I had a kind of a brief conversation about it. I did reach out to Candy Christoph, who's the executive director over at Reentry Solution, and we will have her on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Talking about the specifics surrounding those second chance options and different things of that nature. So that should be, and it was cool because after you and I kind of talked, I reached directly on out to her and she agreed really quick. So hopefully we'll have we'll continue that part of the conversation on Wednesday.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And then what about? I know you mentioned kind of almost everybody. Anything specific for veterans? And I'm going to say that because, I am a veteran, and, we're always looking out trying to make sure our vets are taken care of. Any specifics for veterans?
Specifics to veterans as far as job openings, no, but what we do have now, but that's not to say that each employer that's there with the job openings don't give veterans priority of service.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not saying that. But what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying is, as far as me knowing, for each job opening that's being represented that day, for it being over 800, whether specific to
Right.
veteran friendly and all that, I don't know. But what I do know is that Louisiana Workforce Commission will have the veteran services representative on site.
Okay, cool.
And so, as well as the disability services. So they'll have representation there. They could go through the veteran program that we have at LWC to where they can have that continued assistance to get a job or job training. And that's the same for, the job seekers with disabilities. They're coming that day because they may meet some people that's like, well, I may or may not see something here today that I'm interested in, but I'd like to sign up for your services and, become a client onto that program so that I can, keep accessing these resources that's available to me because I am a veteran or because I'm a disabled job seeker. So they will have that representation there as well as information on those programs.
Lost you, Heather.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're
There
back.
you go.
You're back. Okay.
I could tell when we're back. All right. So do I need to repeat the last part?
Yeah, you could. The last part. Yeah, right.
Okay. So don't know where it cut off, but I'll just repeat the part about the resources. So
Mm-hmm.
LWC will have veteran and disabled job seeker services there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a veteran, since you're specifically asking about them, and they may or may not see anything they're interested in that day, there will still be the veteran representative of LWC that they can meet with and sign up for those ongoing services.
Oh, okay.
Can go onto those programs and get more of that information for those ongoing services.
Cool. Cool. The logistics for today. Can you walk us a little bit through the logistics of the event? Where it's you did tell us it's over at the Bolton
Avenue Community
right?
Center. Yes, and
Yep. Do one have to have a resume with them when they come in, or?
No, and that's a good question because I'm sure people are wondering that. LWC's mobile unit, it's called the Mobile Workforce Center, will be on site in the parking lot, close to the entrance. You can't miss it. And it will be staffed with people that can help them write their resume, as well as some companies do strictly online application, civil service being one. So they can go out to the mobile unit if they don't have a computer or internet access and do the online job application on site on the mobile unit. And it's the same for the resume. So staff can help create the resume, but of course, if you have it, bring plenty of copies. Plenty of copies.
I hear you. The flyer mentioned some information about financial literacy resources and interview attire closet. Can you elaborate on those services that are going to be there?
Yes. So the interview attire closet is donations that we took up actually at the last quarter's rapid hire job fair in March. And we had so many left over. And we think it's because we had it in a separate room and it was just out of sight, out of mind, even though we directed people to it. So we're going to put it in a different location this time. But, it's still good that we had it left over so that we can have it for this event. Yep. And let me just grab my foster kitten who jumped on the table in a live interview. And he may just have to sit here. So
hey, nothing's wrong with that.
Okay, everybody meet cheese. All right, sorry. But anyway, so that's it for what did I leave off?
Yeah, the clothes closet.
Clothes closet, thank you. So we encourage people to take them because they're free. You don't even have to put them back on the hanger. We'll have blazers there, but also put together outfits that might be a button-up shirt and a tie and pants to go with it for you to take with you for, your continued interviews. But if somebody wants to interview you on site in one of the spaces that we have reserved for that as well, then you can go and grab a blazer. So it's just, another resource that we want to have on site to, again, no excuses, no barriers. So that was the interview attire closet. And then you asked about the second one.
Well, you went over the mobile workforce center a
Mm-hmm.
little bit,
For the resume.
for the
Mm-hmm.
resumes and all of that kind of good stuff. So I think that's clear. I was wondering what was in that van, though, and so that little van, that's the mobile.
Yeah. You
Okay,
get to see
cool.
it. Yeah.
I
Come out
get
and take your tour. I mean, we invite anyone, if there's elected officials or, educators, anybody that would like to see the Mobile Workforce Center, you're welcome to come out and at least take a tour of that. Definitely. I think another one of the resources, you didn't specifically ask this, but
hmm
about the financial literacy resources, that was another resource booth that's going to
Right,
be there.
right.
So another sponsor along with the City of Alexandria is Red River Bank.
hmm
And so they're going to have a booth to talk about financial literacy. They may bring information about their credit building and first-time home buyers seminars, webinars, and things like that. And they'll also have a booth inside for jobs. So we try to think as many resources that would be available. Again, like you asked earlier, for the general public. What are a lot of people that may be looking for work, whether it's supplemental or just entering the workforce, that need to know these things, and what's the benefit to this group of people. And so we want to thank Red River Bank for being the sponsor to provide those services as well.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. How do you anticipate the job fair will impact the local community and economy? With having, I know a lot of the jobs, some of them are, state jobs and they could be located elsewhere. But, just even if we get 25% of,
Mm-hmm.
those jobs go, what do you think, how do you think that will impact our economy and all that kind of good stuff?
Well, a big goal of the new administration and Louisiana Workforce Commission is to put an emphasis on labor force,
hmm
participation in the labor force. So
hmm
as many people as we can get jobs that, especially if they're high paying jobs, would be a benefit to our community. So an event like this is accessible to the community that has a lot of options, and we try to cover as many services and alleviate as many barriers as possible for that labor force participation rate. Unemployment rate in the Alexandria metropolitan area and Rapiche Parish is, on par with the rest of the state. I'm not going to say the exact number because I did not look that up before this interview, but the
hmm
last time I looked, I believe was 3.5 or 3.8, maybe a month ago, and that it's like that for most of the state. But there's one thing to focus on: unemployment rate and labor force participation rate, and this is something. The goal of it is to employ or re-employ as many people as possible.
Okay. What are there any measures in place to follow up with the folk who sign up and come in um, to the job fair on Tuesday? Will you guys have any matrix in place to say, hey, um, Johnny came in, Johnny eventually received a job, that kind of thing?
Well, a lot of that, and I'm glad you asked that one as well, is dependent upon the employers to report their hires to us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a huge goal of that, you have the employers and then you have job seekers. And we talked about, some of the barriers to the job seekers and the benefits to them, of course, but what about the employers? And, what is it that LWC would need for them in order for this to be successful? And a big one is reporting those hires to LWC. I do send out a survey, a post-event survey, asking for this information,
Mm-hmm.
and is it to the discretion if they're going to share it with us. But we like to remind employers that, all of the information gets reported anyway. It just takes about 6 months. But if they complete that post-event survey, we can actually have that sooner. We can say how many people from this job fair got job offers, how many were able to obtain employment, interviews, how many were pipelined for later. That's something that we could track, but it's completely dependent on the employer's participation. And for the job seekers, we'll have a sign-in sheet there where we're just going to ask for name and email in case we needed to reach out to them. But the 3 boxes that we will check off is, have you been laid off within the past 6 months? Are you a veteran? And are you disabled? And that way, if we need to reach out to anybody, because that happens. Is if it's anything like the first one, we had 256 job seekers come out. That's not even counting the employers and the resources. So there's a lot of people there, and it often happens to where you can meet with a job seeker and you can go so far in that conversation, but maybe their resume got lost in the shuffle. But we will definitely have that on our sign-in sheet. The biggest thing that we can recommend, though, is after the event, whether or not you've had luck with the job, you want to look into other resources, like maybe taking your work keys assessment or looking into job training. That would be to go over or to call the Rapides American Job Center, and that's located next to the Coliseum at 5610 Coliseum Boulevard. And that is, what the general public calls the Job Center, or Louisiana Workforce Commission Job Center. But the Rapides American Job Center is where they can follow up for those ongoing services.
No, you did mention work keys. Can you tell us, I don't think we do and I'm pretty sure you have a good working knowledge of what work keys is and how it's used by employers and things of that nature. Can you give us a little quick overview of what work keys is? And before you get to work keys, we've had two questions out here,
Yeah.
2 or 3, okay. And they want to know when that job fair is. So let's answer that, and then we'll jump right back into this.
Okay. If you've joined late, the job fair is this coming Tuesday, June 25th, and it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to need the full hour from 9 o'clock to 10 to set up. So we do ask that people come, a little before 10, or else you're going to have to wait because, we got to get set up. So it's going to start promptly at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. next Tuesday. And then where I can see this one from Connie Green is going to be at the Bolton Avenue Community Center, which that address is 315 Bolton Avenue in Alexandria.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So now I guess we can go ahead and jump back into
work keys.
Work keys. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about
See, I remember that time, didn't have a foster kitten.
Well, that wasn't, but you brought work keys up. And so, and work keys is something that I really like the concept of.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing about our area is all of Sinlaw is a work-ready community. Work keys is good for employers. I'll use Roy Morton as an example because they do so much with work keys and job fairs with the Rapides American Job Center. So let's say they require a bronze to work with them. They require you to even have the score, and their minimum is bronze. And a bronze is the minimum, by the way. You have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And I'll get into how that's scored in a second. But you have employers out there that that may be part of their onboarding process where you actually have to have that score. And it's another good thing to have with your application package. If you have any certifications, a degree, a high school diploma, work keys, score, a resume, that's just part of your package. But what it does is it tests out in 3 key areas. And it's been a while since I looked at it. I know this, but again, I don't have it in front of me.
No, you don't have to get into the.
Yeah, one is math. Math is on there. And then that's always my struggle. So I remember that one. There's applied math and there's graphic literacy. And I think the third one is workplace documents. So I think I did pretty good on remembering those. So it tests out, it lets an employer know, hey, this person, has good reading comprehension, and they have, at least the basic skills in math. And, it may show them that they're trainable, and it's just having those scores on file. Is a benefit to the employer and the job seeker, and is just yet another matching service. And again, it's something else for the job seeker to have in their personal portfolio when they're applying for jobs. So that is a free service that is offered through the Orchid Foundation out of the Rapides Foundation. You can go over to the Rapides American Job Center, and of course it has to be scheduled, so call first. But it is of no charge in Rapides Parish.
Wow, that's good. That's awesome. Are there any future events planned?
Well, we would like to do this quarterly because the one in March was a success. It didn't count as the pilot. we hope this one is just as much as a success, and of course more. If I mean, I'll be happy with if we get the same turnout as the one in March, which was 256 job seekers. But of course, the
Mm-hmm.
more the merrier. If it
Mm-hmm.
continues to be a success, we'll continue to do this on a quarterly basis.
Well, I tell you what, the one thing we observed was just the sheer number of shares on that flyer when we
Mm.
posted it on you guys' behalf the other day. I was put it
And
in,
thank you
and
for that.
no, our pleasure, our pleasure. Yeah, so and when you look at behind the scenes and you look at the data with, how engaging it was, it was seen by well over 30,000 times. And I think that was late
Awesome.
Friday. Yeah. So,
That's awesome, and that's what we want, because again, one
mhm.
of the first questions you asked, and y'all again forgive me, it's Sunday, I'm at home, and I have foster kids, so I'm doing the best I can.
And blame this on me because after we analyzed that data and we were like, we might want to just kind of help
Yeah.
help folk with some of the pre-information and that kind of thing. And I thank you guys, so thank you so much, Heather, for just taking my text message when I said, hey, Heather, look at these
Would you
numbers out
like
here,
to
they're
do
going
it?
kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And we're
Yeah.
very appreciative to that, because it takes, so much to get the word out. It takes a minute for things to get traction. I mean, even the last one we had that was such a success, you still heard people say, well, I didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so the more help that we can get, the better. But going back to your question, that is absolutely part of what we were looking for. And let's see if it gets traction, because we're gauging what people are saying. We're gauging what employers and job seekers are saying is, their barriers, what their issues are,
Mm-hmm.
especially post COVID. That's when everybody really started talking about it. And we've been listening, and it's a slow process, but we've been listening. And I really do feel like this big job fair / community / resource event is a good start.
Wow, 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 wow. That's good. That's good. That's good to hear that. And the other thing is just to see the sheer collaboration between the different private organizations,
Yeah.
nonprofit organizations, and of course, the businesses themselves, and everybody is in that same boat. When you see the city of Alexandria saying, "Hey, here's some resources to have this thing in a very centrally located location," and then you turn around and you see a financial institution like Red River Bank say, "Hey, we're going to bring resources over there to talk about financial literacy and that kind of stuff." That's a community coming together, and I guess and from that standpoint, I guess they don't care if we talk on Sunday, and
Got to get the word out.
we
I know
got to
y'all are
get the
sitting
word
here.
by any means necessary.
They broke out of their little tent that I had them zipped up in. I did prepare for this, but they broke out. And they're little door dashers too. So I'm happy to do it, as long as, everybody just, there's going to be questions. And you asked me a couple questions that actually, something that came to my mind was, and you put in, you mentioned one of your posts with the flyer, and I think you did a couple of them. I'm so sorry.
No, no problem.
I think you did a couple of different posts,
Mhm.
and there we go. And it was, about the traction it got, and how many shares. And really, if that's what we need as feedback, that this is, what the community wants, and we can
Mhm.
absolutely report these successes to, our partners like the city of Alexandria, donating that building. They're going to want to know, how many people did this help. And so, like I mentioned earlier, we'll need that employer participation just to let us know, so that we could provide that feedback, so that we can keep doing this for the community. And
Mhm.
if we do this quarterly and it's a success and it grows, we hope that eventually, it catches on and people just know about it, and they're ready for it. They're waiting for it, employers and job seekers. And so, back to your question about some of the questions that you got, about, well, who's going to be there? Is there going to be this? Is there going to be that? My advice is to just come.
Just come.
Just come. Exactly. Because it is part of us removing those barriers and making it accessible. Just come.
Just come, just come. Before we get ready to jet out of here, Heather, is there anything that you need to say that we didn't cover that you need to?
I do think we covered the basics. I'll say it again for anybody that joined late is next Tuesday, June 25th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we will start promptly at 10 a.m. because we will need the full hour from 9 to 10 a.m. to set up. The Mobile Workforce Center will be there to help with resumes. But if you do already have your resume, bring those resumes. The address is 315 Bolton Avenue, and it's going to be at the Bolton Avenue Community Center. And there is a bus stop for the city of Alexandria right in front of it. Yeah, I think we covered just about everything. Of course, again, I want to thank our sponsors, City of Alexandria, for allowing us to use the space at the Bolton Avenue Community Center, as well as Red River Bank.
Okay, cool. Well, Heather, I definitely want to say thank you for providing such valuable information about the Rapid Hire Job Fair. It sounds like it's going to be an incredible opportunity for job seekers in our
Hope
community.
so.
We appreciate the efforts of the Louisiana Workforce Commission in organizing this event and supporting the local workforce. Again, I definitely want to say thank you to the City of Alexandria and Red River Bank for realizing this need in our community. To our viewers, mark your calendar, June 25th, and taking advantage of this chance to connect with potential employers. Stay tuned.
Mark the calendars.
Mark the calendar. And I also want to say to our advertisers out there, Sadler's Towing, Long's Preferred, National Auto and Tire, and Math Makes Sense. Thank you for helping us keep the community informed by bringing programs like this. Heather, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to the viewers for your patience with my foster kitties.
If you could just hang tight, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.